Welcome to Wildlife Conversations. I am your host, Jen Ritchie. And first, I just want to thank you all so much for listening. You guys have been so kind to me over the last few weeks with your messages, your emails, your comments on posts. And I just want to thank you because I know your time is valuable. And so I'm so just happy about this little Wildlife Conversations community. And I'm so glad you joined me. It's been so fun. But tonight, I think you will really appreciate the way my guest prioritizes exploring her subject, finding the emotional depth, and telling its story in a relatable, thought-provoking way. Starting with extreme sports photography at the Canadian Superbike Series, she moved further into wildlife photography during 2020. She quickly fell in love with it, and more photography doors started opening, including becoming a Canon Canada Ambassador and winning countless awards, so many I couldn't count, including the gold medal at the 2024 World Photography Cup. From South America and Alaska to Africa and the Arctic, she travels all around the world, capturing powerful images and narratives that bridge the beauty of the natural world with its urgent need for protection. She is passionate about ethical photography practices, as she is educating, leading photography tours, mentoring creatives, and collaborating with various organizations that impact the planet, like the Canadian Conservation Photography Collective, like the Jane Goodall Institute, the Speckled Bear Conservation, and the Grizzly Bear Foundation. I think one of the best things I've heard about her is that she, quote, is the most fabulous human. So I'm excited to talk with my guest and welcome her tonight, Canon Canada Ambassador Jacquie Matechuk. Welcome.
Oh my, how am
Are
I
you
supposed to live
blushing?
up to that? Oh my gosh, nowhere to go but down. Sorry. Wow.
I had to make you blush a little bit.
Well done. Well done.
Well,
Should have helped.
there are people saying hello already to us. So hi ladies and everyone joining from Lake
Ah,
Ariel, Pennsylvania. That's Cynthia. Dee Webb is here.
oh,
I'm here.
Dee.
Yay. So excited. She said, that's great. If you are here joining us, you can say hi in the chat. Tell us where you're listening from. So say hi to Jacquie. And we're going to have a great conversation tonight. It's going to be fun. We've followed each other for a while, but I was going to tell you, you were one of the first people when I started the podcast to message me privately, and we'd never messaged before. And you congratulated me, and it meant a lot to me. It really did.
Sister stalker, I tell you.
I love it. I love it. I know, but it's so important. And you are really, to me, I was like, she's really walking the walk, talking the talk, walking the walk. She's messaging me and cheering me on. It was just so nice. So thank you for that.
Well, you've earned every accolade you've received by miles, leaps and bounds. And honestly, I'm not doing anything I haven't been fortunate enough to have experienced myself. Obviously, wildlife's pretty new for me, and I've had some incredibly kind, welcoming, nurturing people that have really stepped up and made me fall in love with the life, like the lens all over again. So
Yeah,
at least
that's
I
really
do.
cool. So you fall in love with the genre, but also the community part of it too. Yeah, which is so nice. So nice. Yeah. Well, I had Dee Webb on the podcast, I think in March. And so she talked about you a lot and how supportive you were. And I'm like, I'm meeting her. I'm meeting her in May. I can't wait. I can't wait. We're gonna talk.
It's funny. I watched that the other night actually, and I
Aw.
hadn't talked to Dee, and I didn't realize all the wonderful things she said. So I texted her today. We were chatting about some things. She's like, "Man, you better pay me back on all those." She's gonna be chapped. I shared that, but that's the kind of friends we are. It's just,
Yeah.
all the guards are down, just having fun and loving life. So
That's good. That's what it's about. We have people from Wisconsin. Hi, Danny.
hey,
Jenny Cannon's here from Idaho. So excited to listen tonight.
oh
Maureen
nice.
Matson's here from Utah. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining. It's going to be good. So, Jacquie, I know you are so busy. I can tell by our emails. And I was just thinking, oh, I just hope she can get this through. And I hope she's having safe travels. But tell us what your home base is. Where's your home base?
Home for me is Cochrane, Alberta, Canada.
Mm-hmm.
We're just a small town outside of Calgary, and between Calgary and Canmore Banff area. So
Mm-hmm.
we live on an acreage just outside of town. So we
Oh,
have, or
nice.
I have access to a lot of beautiful areas right
I'm
here in our own
sure.
backyard.
I'm
Yeah.
sure. I've been fortunate to go twice. My husband combined, it was like bucket list for us for years. So he combined business with Banff. And so we did Banff, Jasper, Yoho, Kananaskis, Kootenay. Like we just like took every drop we could out of it over those like 3 to 5 days.
And such a
So
good reminder.
beautiful.
We forget in our own backyard, right? The
So
beauty that's
beautiful. Yeah.
there. And, that's the only good thing
Yeah.
that came with COVID is we really had to start exploring
That's
close to home.
exactly right. That's exactly right. Well, I kept saying to my husband, it's like you think you've seen the most beautiful thing, and then you turn the corner again, and it's just another turquoise lake, with a mountain coming out of it. It was just unbelievable. It was so beautiful. We can't wait. We were supposed to come back during 2020, and of course we couldn't. So we're looking
Right.
forward to coming back. We love it.
Oh,
I
well,
love it.
you let me know.
I will. I
We have
will.
lots of room, lots of room.
Oh,
We
that
keep
would
you
be
busy.
great. So you
Awesome.
started in sports photography, and that honestly, I hear that a lot from photographers, especially women photographers when they're doing their kids' sports. Like my son's high school and daughter's high school sports really made me hone learning that camera and learning how to capture that action and gesture and the story, because sometimes I originally would start trying to capture every single moment. And then I realized, no, it's about like the 12 to 30 photos that tell the story. And I think I love that about what I learned about you, just studying about you before this, how you dug deeper and got to the personal, and even in sports photography. I love that.
Well, and I mean, I didn't go after photography. It literally found me.
Yes.
Um, I can't take any credit for this amazing path I'm on right now whatsoever. But it's one of those things, and I never even thought about it from the perspective of moms and dads just being out photographing their own kids or grandkids,
Yeah.
um, doing sports and such. But I think it would be such a natural progression if more people did that, if they were that
Mhm.
emotionally invested in what they had on the other side of that lens. They pay so much more attention, right? You understand every nuance of every moment. You know if they're really trying hard, if they're in pain, if
Mhm.
there's nothing left that they can give you, the excitement, the crushing defeat,
Mhm.
the wins, all of it, all that emotion you're so connected to because you care about them.
Yeah.
And if you can learn to see life that way, through a lens that way, that can transfer into far more.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I've found it was such an easy transition from sports, because even though I didn't start photographing sports specifically for that purpose, I actually was part of a team first. So I knew all the people involved. I knew what was on the line. I understood, this was a big comeback race from an almost career-ending injury
Mm.
and a last chance to make a career out of it for this guy and his wife and his kids that are watching. And so you were really deeply invested emotionally, and it changes how you see things, and you see more than anyone else does because you know the whole story.
Mhm.
So we
That
learn
is cool.
always.
And you're really putting yourself in that story too, because of all that knowledge and emotion that you have.
So much
Yeah.
so I know a lot of times when you're out there in the field, a lot of people say, I just want to put the camera down and just be
Mhm.
present. And I think that's great. Everybody's got a voice that they've got to listen to
Mhm.
and experience what's out there the way it's best experienced for them. But for me, it's staying absolutely locked in. I don't want anything outside of this in my
Yeah.
world at all. I just want to be lost in what I'm
Yes,
looking.
yes, yes.
Even if I don't push the shutter, I just love to watch and learn and see, the behavior and the
Yes.
interactions and
Mhm.
be a student of
Yeah,
what you've got in your hand there. So it's
yeah.
pretty fun.
Well, do you think that's how you approached it when in 2020, everything shuts down, sports photography shuts down? So you think like you're starting this new thing. And so how did that come about? Just
Honestly, I just had a
steps towards
panic attack.
wildlife. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had a
Yeah.
sheer meltdown panic. It's like all the things I had just really fired up, the
Yeah.
photography side of things again,
Right.
and had these contracts and had the right people looking. And then, like everyone, I mean, the rug was pulled out from under us.
Yeah.
And I just felt like I didn't want to start from scratch again. What am I going to
Right.
do? I got to get out and photograph something, anything. So I went to my local camera club here in
Mhm.
town. I had not ever gone. Went down to see who was there, what was what. Met a couple of gals. We got along really good. Started joking around. We decided to go out one day and photograph. And one was a birder. Birders are different people, by the way.
Yes. Yes.
Different people. Bless their hearts. I love them, but
I had the same
different people.
experience in 2020. Yes. Yes.
And the other gal was a landscape photographer, and the three of us just we had so much fun just being anywhere. It didn't matter if we saw what we hoped to see or if we saw nothing. We just enjoyed being out there and together.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
before I knew it, I discovered the challenge of trying to photograph little birds that have no rhyme or reason to how you
I
move.
totally get it. Yes.
And I was just jonesing to do more. It's like, yeah, here we go. This is my
Right.
jam. There's
Yes.
no predictability here at all. Let's just bring on the chaos. So, um, wildlife it was. And then I met a gentleman that was going to be doing a bear tour. And I thought, a bear tour, like where would you be? And he started showing me pictures of like on the ground and 15 feet away,
Hmm.
mama bear and cubs. It's like, so that would be like me on the ground? Yeah, like
You're like, this is
what I
possible.
want to
Yeah,
do.
sign me
Yeah,
up.
that is cool. So yeah, I signed up for that and I decided to take a bear guiding course
Hmm.
because I was really nervous. If I went, I wouldn't know if I was doing something to upset the bear
Yeah.
or endanger my group, and we were going to be close quarters. So I flew out to BC and took a course on bear
That's
guiding, which
awesome. Yeah.
and it was fantastic because right
Hmm.
off the hop, everything I was seeing was making sense and
Yeah.
understanding the signals, if they were stressed, if they were comfortable, which meant I was more comfortable. And it just, oh, I was hook, line, and sinker.
I
I tell
bet. I bet.
you, it won me over. So
And so how did doors start opening? I mean, that Alaska trip was a door. And then how did Canon call because of the sports? I'm sure because of your sports photography, you were so good at that.
yeah, that was a bit of a, again, you couldn't duplicate this if you tried. So when COVID hit and I started doing the wildlife thing, I also decided to try and do this Professional Photographers of Canada,
Uh-huh.
PPOC.
Okay.
I went on their website and I looked at the photography, and I mean it was amazing. The quality and the caliber. Man, that's the kind of imagery I want to be able to create.
Yeah.
So I thought I'll join that too. Why not? So I joined that also, and within a couple of years, not even, I was doing a lot more wildlife. I got my accreditations in several different things at that point, about 8 or 9 different accreditations with the PPOC, which is a
Wow.
portfolio approval.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I guess Canon had reached out to PPOC directly and said, look, we have a brand new camera coming out, an R3, and we need someone that can do both wildlife and sports, and we don't have that right now. So they had sports ambassadors, they had wildlife ambassadors, but no one that did both. And because it was we had the UK, the US, and Canada, it was going to be a global release.
Hmm.
So each country was putting forward a
Hmm.
uh,
Hmm.
ambassador or representative with a portfolio and a part of the movie. So Canada ended up with the draw on wildlife and sports. So they went to the well to see what there was, and PPOC said, well, here's a list of, I think there were 3 or 4 people
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
had those ones, and
Yeah.
they silently stopped in the background, which I didn't know for about 3 months. Actually,
Wow.
yeah, and a couple of them had commented once or twice, and of
Mm-hmm,
course,
mm-hmm.
had a little bit of dialogue, but no idea who they were.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I got a call out of the blue to, we'd like to have a chat. It's like, wow, sure, sounds great. That first meeting was was a disaster because I couldn't get Microsoft Teams to work on
Oh
anything.
no. Oh
Oh,
no. And so
I
they're
was sick.
waiting, waiting. Oh no.
And I am texting and I'm trying to email the email address that I had correspondence from. Nobody was replying on anything.
Oh
And
no.
40 minutes went by. And I mean, I am streaming tears. I'm like, oh,
Oh,
I blew it.
oh
I'm so
no.
embarrassed. Yeah, I thought, how could I have done that? And I thought, you know what? I'm going to share this story and
Yeah,
other people
yeah,
are going to know, don't be
yeah,
so,
yeah.
so silly. And, my husband called and he's like, how did it go? And I broke down in tears. I'm like,
Oh
oh,
no.
he's like, oh
Because the
boy, okay.
emotional buildup of a call like that has to
Yeah.
be huge.
Oh,
And so,
it was terrific.
everything's on the line and then can't get it to work. And we'd all been on video calls for a couple years. How long ago was this? Like 3 years ago, 4 years ago?
Yeah, and I had not done a Teams one before.
Right. I
Zoom,
don't
no
think I have
problem.
either.
Teams
Yeah.
was, and Mac and Teams did not really. Oh,
Well, it
anyway,
didn't hurt your chances. It didn't hurt. They understood, obviously.
oh, my husband was sick to his stomach too. He's like, I'll come home. I'm so sorry. I said, no,
Oh,
it's okay. Don't, I'm fine. And I hung up with him and I got a ding on my phone and I took a look and it was them saying,
oh, good.
hey, no problem. We got tied up too. How about if we retry this for tomorrow? And I was like,
You're like, yes.
so I had a do-over and I
Wipe
got,
the tears.
yeah,
Get ready again.
it was a great meeting. It was weird. Like I had this gentleman that I had the phone conversation with and three blank squares
That is weird.
that were
Yeah.
watching. It
Yeah.
was one guy I was talking to though. And it was awkward that way, but he was wonderful and we got
Yeah.
along really good. And
Yeah.
about a month went by and I got another phone call and an email and an offer. And I said, yeah, I'm
Let's
in. And
go.
up
Yes.
and oh my God, what did I just do? Are you crazy?
That's awesome.
You're gonna get a
Well, your
camera.
work is well deserved. And I mean, you're such a good ambassador. Like you're so good on the videos and you're just really good. They
Oh,
picked well. And
it's
I'm
so
so
awkward.
thankful as a Canon shooter. I told you this before we got on. I'm so thankful as a Canon shooter that you're there because you are someone that we can look up to and learn from and, shoot alongside. Like, I feel like I could shoot alongside you and we'd be just fine. Like, you're so friendly and nice. So that's
Uh,
really important. It's really important for Canon. I
we
love
never stop
it.
learning.
That's right. And that's what
So
people continually say on this. I just never stop learning, never stop being like just um mesmerized by the awe and wonder and joy that's out there. Like you just, and it's like when you get the bug for this, it's just like something you cannot stop. I mean,
no,
obviously we spend so much money, time, travel because we love this all so much that I
yeah,
love
yeah.
it. I mean, I love it.
People always ask why, why did you get into this? And it's
Yeah.
like, clearly for the money. I mean, not at all. It's the
I know.
most
I mean,
expensive thing I've ever done. And worth every penny. Every
well,
penny.
how you've said that the bears too just like mesmerized you. But
Yeah.
you have two favorite bears, two favorite kinds of bear trips. Probably more than that.
It is so, so hard to pick and choose, I tell you.
They are
Uh,
pretty fabulous.
they are. And you really get, again, like you're always learning, but you know how we talked earlier about rediscovering your own backyard, the things you take for
Mm-hmm,
granted. And
mm-hmm.
I think that's the great thing about taking people out now to the things that blew my mind the first time and just brought me to tears is now you go and do those with more people and you
Yeah,
get to see that all over again. You see them
yeah,
well up and you see them trying to breathe and go and
Yeah.
working through this beautiful discovery. And that's just so rewarding.
Yeah. Getting to
And of
see
course
that through their eyes. So this is this big on your screen as well? It's I have it
it
zoomed.
is.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So this is this Alaska?
This is Alaska. And oh my gosh, it is
Your little
something.
cubs.
You're just so close to them, and it's not because you go there. We would walk out. We've got the world's best guide that we work with. And of course I work through Focus Photo Tours, which
Mhm,
is
mhm.
me and
Yes,
Scott, Jackie, and
yes,
Tracy,
yes.
and this particular experience, we're out there and the bears, the moms are bringing their little cubs right to us.
Oh,
Um, and we just sit and wait. And if they don't bring them to us, they don't. But
that's
it just
right.
over and over, it seems to happen. And it's almost like they're educating them that, these are safe people
Mm,
because we stay where we're positioned. We don't move around. We don't jostle once they're in place. They just do everything they would do as though we were wearing some cloak of invisibility. And we get to watch this behavior. We see them play and fight and have their little milk comas, and
yes.
it's just
It's
incredible.
so sweet. It's so sweet. And I watched that the behind the scenes of that this past summer of you all and just like showing so many people how gorgeous that all is. And it was just so fun following along with Scott and Jackie. And I remember when you were there too. I was like, there's Jackie. They hosted so many great people. And then is
Yeah,
this the speckled bear?
yeah,
Is
they're
that what is
called
it? No, I have it wrong, don't I? Is that right?
spectacle,
Spectacle. I'm speckled. I
but
knew
they are speckled too.
yeah.
So,
And this is South America?
yeah, this is in Ecuador.
Okay.
And Peru is probably home, might even be home to a larger number of them, but because of the expansive area that they cover, there's very little opportunity to ever see one in the wild. Even the people that work for Spectacled Bear Conservation Society, the majority of them have never laid eyes
Oh,
on one of these
wow.
beautiful bears. So Ecuador is an opportunity to go and see them in their habitat, which just in this particular case happened to be a century-old fig tree, which
Oh,
perfectly
that's
with moss.
gorgeous. It's
Yeah,
gorgeous.
you can't make that stuff up. It's ridiculous. It's not easy. It is, bar none, the absolute most physically demanding trip I have ever been on.
Do
It's
you
so,
think it's the temperature, the physical part? What is it?
well, for starters, we're doing about 850, 900 meter, like
Hmm.
virtually vertical
Yeah,
descent and incline, just little tiny switchbacks back and forth. And
yeah.
it's very hot. It can also be absolutely pouring rain. And
Hmm.
this little trail is mud. So sometimes you take 2 steps and you go back 8. And
Wow.
it's a long time to get up or even to sit. Like the rain was pouring during this. And there were 4 of us trying to fit on a little shelf of a pathway and pouring rain. And if you shifted at all, you'd start to go. And then you take the next
Oh,
person and the next person. And so we're all trying to shimmy back up and hold position. And it was as we're doing this, the sun came out and it just rocketed up in temperature and everything fogged up. It
oh, that's right.
was
Yes.
hard. It was really, really hard
Oh,
through it, but
and
you
but you
do.
got this beautiful shot and you can see that it was raining. You can see it on the fur and everything.
Yeah, and it's everybody always says like it looks like a kind of painterly effect, but
It does.
it came out of the camera that way because the shutter speed had to be so low to
Yeah.
get light back into the image
Yes.
that I think it was what was it, 1/100th or 1/80th or something of a second. So this pouring rain just looks like this nice sheet of, soft haze.
And
I again, I dumb luck, honestly.
no.
I love to say that was all
And
planned
skill
and
and grit getting up there. What were your
yeah.
chances of seeing one once you got there?
Um, we would see I would say we saw probably an average of one a day.
Oh, that's
sometimes 2
good.
or 3 a day.
Yeah, yeah, that's good.
Maybe 1 or 2 days where we didn't come across one, but we've
Mhm.
been a few times now and going back again next year.
That's fun.
Just it's really exciting to watch these babies out. And when I go back this next time,
Mhm.
there's a chance that the first time I went, one of those cubs may be a
Yeah.
mom,
Oh, that's nice. That'll be
which,
fun to watch the generations. Yes.
yeah,
It's
that'll be a
so
dream
fun.
come true.
Yes, yes. And do you remember what you shot this with? What camera body, what lens?
Yeah, this was my R5,
Mm-hmm.
Mark 1 R5, and it was a 100 to 500.
Oh, that's
It
great.
was, yeah, I had a 600, but where we had to get to here, I had to leave it at the bottom. There was no way to
That's what I
scramble.
wondered. Yeah. That's what I
Yeah,
was wondering. How heavy of a lens did you take? That 100 to 500 would be perfect. Be the
yeah, and I had
yeah.
a 70 to 200 I had started with, which was
Hmm.
really nice. And it gave me more light, which was the
Yes.
big thing, but it
Yes.
fogged up first. So
Hmm.
I grabbed this one
Hmm.
and got a couple shots off before it quit.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
But
beautiful. It is painterly. That's what I
yeah,
noticed about it too. Yeah. And another favorite spot is the Arctic. Is that right? I
yeah,
want to go. I want to go.
it's been really neat to go. I'm really fortunate to work with Adventure Canada, and I get to travel into the Arctic quite often, anywhere from southern up to, I would say, mid or northern Greenland, and then across Baffin into Nunavut,
Wow.
and get into these really remote communities. We've had polar bears swimming in the water next to us. We've had them
Wow.
on icebergs and on shores, learning about their behavior again because of all these, they're adapting to all these climate changes. And
Yes.
um, it was funny that we had one, just to give you an example of that, in the Arctic last year, where it was a pretty remote area and it was known for the birds to be nesting.
Hmm.
And the birds were there doing that. And you'd hear a rock slide. And I mean, these are straight up cliffs. In fact, sometimes they're actually overhanging. And you'd hear a rock slide, and bear would come running to where the rock slide was because there was a chance that a bunch of
Hmm.
birds had fallen or had been died or, sorry, been killed or had
Hmm.
nested, collapsed,
Yeah.
and that's what they were foraging for. And they're walking around with feathers sticking out of their mouths. It's like,
Oh,
wow,
wow. Oh
I
my
had no
goodness.
idea. So yeah, just learning all the time.
You're seeing
And
it on
they're
the
that,
front lines. You're seeing all those little hints. Yes.
yeah, it's
Yes.
just they're going to do a better job of adapting than we will, I'm sure.
Well, do you remember what lens and camera you had with this one? Because look at the texture in that fur. That is gorgeous.
Uh, this was a 1 to 5 as well, actually.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, and I probably had an extender on it at the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Which
But
works well.
yep, and it's funny. It's the opportunities. I mean, whatever lens you have on you at the time, if there's an opportunity, you're gonna
Yes.
make the best of it and not worry about what you don't have
That's
because
right.
nothing you can do about, options that aren't there. You just
Yeah.
want to try and find a way to make the best of the moment. So
Yeah. And you hear people say, like, challenge yourself and just try with the one lens or like give yourself constraints so that you have to work and be creative. So sometimes that is the case too. It's kind of cool. But I just love
yeah,
the snow on it and the fur is just beautiful. Look at that.
yeah, and we've had,
Yeah.
you know, everything that I was able to open for doors in the beginning, even with the sports side of things. I mean, all of that was done with, 5D Mark IVs and 100 to 400 lens, nowhere near
Mhm. Mhm.
mirrorless is capable of now.
Right. Right.
So it's not always about the equipment. It's just
No,
about being there for that moment.
no. I started on a Canon Rebel, like 6T, what I don't remember what they were, like T6. Yeah.
Mine
And
was XT.
yeah. And I remember I was doing soccer and I had this, it wasn't a great lens for low light. I think it was like the 70 to 300 or something.
Okay.
A friend let me borrow a 70 to 200 at that 2.8. And I was like, wait a minute, what? And I put it on the Rebel and it made beautiful shots. because
Absolutely.
you don't know the difference yet. Like to move up to an R5, you don't know the difference. You're just learning,
You
right?
don't
And
miss what
it's
you don't
beautiful.
know.
Right, right. It made beautiful sports shots, nature shots. And I even look back and be like, oh, I took that on the Rebel or the 5D Mark IV. And it's like it's what you have and you make it work. But I think it's also the
Absolutely.
love of this genre is like you definitely make it work. You have that animal in front of you. It's like make it work. Yeah.
There's always a shot. There's
Yes.
always something.
Yes.
If it's
Absolutely.
environmental or detail, or there's always an option. Yeah.
Well, I want to show your many of these images are award winning, but this I think it's this one, this owl, great gray owl image. Is this the right
Yeah.
one? Oh gosh,
Yep.
it's so beautiful. It's so
Yeah.
beautiful. That background that you got, the gesture, the eye, it's so
There's an
beautiful.
underlying theme of dumbass luck here. Because again, I mean, I could never hope to duplicate that. Um, I don't think I've ever seen one turn their head sideways to look at me, which is what he did, which
Mhm.
is really weird. And then of course I mean, just
Yeah,
luck.
it's like
That
Pulp Fiction
one
there for a
second.
second.
Big time, big time. Yeah, and he was really handsome little
Yes,
fella, a
yes.
great hunter. Yeah, it was a very nice moment. And that was an absolutely awful day. I had had the worst day in a long time. And it's like, you know what? I need to go fill my cup. Like,
Mm,
it's just been too much today. It's over the
yeah.
top. And grabbed my bag and I hopped in my car and I went for a drive and had driven around for a little while because this was getting later in the night now.
Mhm.
I'd driven around for a while and spent time with a couple of owls that I came across, and it was pretty chill. Finally, was relaxed, and then
Yeah.
came across this fella, and he was hunting at the time. Um, had lots of opportunities to film him and take pictures of him hunting, and some of the best footage I think I've ever had of owls was this fella. And I don't know. And then this happened, and again, it's just opened up doors, and I didn't spend any money to travel any exotic distance. It was just here and listening to my heart and getting
Yes,
away.
yes.
And yeah, and it just happens. So
Yeah.
sometimes the universe can be pretty generous sometimes.
Oh, yeah. And it's like, thank you to the animal, thank you to the universe, thank you so much.
Oh,
And you go home filled, so with your emotions are so much better and there's a peace about it. But just I have to say, it's not luck to get that kind of shot though. It's
oh,
skill.
a good chunk of it was luck.
A big chunk is skill. It's sharp. The gesture's perfect. You got that. It's like it's not just luck. You're being so humble.
It's pretty exciting. And of
So
course, anyone
so
that knows
gorgeous.
mirrorless cameras, and you look on the back and you think, oh
Yes.
man, I got it. This is great. And then the whole drive home is like, please look that good on the big screen,
I know.
please.
Yes, yes. Definitely had that feeling. Definitely had that feeling before. I
Uh-huh.
think I think it is what we've touched on a couple times is local. So I think people think, well, they travel everywhere, but you said your local camera club, which people can check out in their towns, or maybe they have to drive a little bit to find one or start their own, you
Yeah.
know?
And find the right mix. Some of them
Mhm.
are really competitive. Some of them
Mhm.
are just totally laid back, nurturing. They're more about the trips and camaraderie. And depending on where you are, you may have a different need. So
Yeah.
you got to find the people.
Got to find your people. Yeah.
As much as you want to find the things you love to photograph, finding the people to do that with is equally important. I mean, the most meaningful conversations I have had with friends in a moment that something crazy beautiful and unfolded has been nothing more than a look at each other and maybe a tear coming down your cheek. Like that's it.
So
That's
true.
no words were needed.
That's right.
And
I know I can think of a time just sitting in the snow with a fox and just all you had to do is look at the other person like, can you believe this?
that, Exactly. And you
It's like
brought that forever,
yeah,
you know?
forever. Yeah, I think that's we were talking I think the community is so important too. Like you
Yeah.
fall in love with the genre, but you have the community is so sweet. Like, of course, like you said, there can be competitiveness or ego, but you have to find your people and because it's a really sweet community.
Yeah, it can be. It's
Yeah.
whatever you want it to be, I think.
Yeah. Well, your images really tell a story, and I think that's something that you prioritize to just like in sports photography, digging deeper and finding that story and then meaning in that story. Do you have ways that you do that or things you're looking for that people could hear? Tips about that?
Honestly, pretty simple, I think. For me, I trust what I'm feeling in the moment. You know, when it's one thing to be technical, looking for the shot, looking for the light and everything else, but um, the emotional side of things, that the connection that you feel, if you're seeing what I felt, then I feel like I did a good job. That's my
Yeah.
goal.
Yeah.
I really want people to feel the things that I see, and um, and even the editing can help with that too. Sometimes you'll edit to how you felt in that moment.
Yes.
Um, you know, the image of that owl is a great example that the color tones are much warmer out of my camera,
Mhm.
even though it was still dark. They were much warmer color tones, and making them a little bit more blue felt more um daunting and more a little heavier, you know, in the night, and a more connection between him and I. And that's how I felt. That was a, like I said, it was a crappy day. It was a crappy week. And yeah, it was like this piercing light that kind of came out of the night type of thing. And
Oh
this great
yeah,
moment.
that's
And
true. Yeah. The
that's
little spark that came out of that dark day. That it was
exactly.
yeah, you really did tell that. That is so cool.
And then when you I think once you learn to edit a little bit more to the way you shoot, you also start to shoot differently,
Mm,
because you know what you can do with an image, or you may take images that you otherwise never would have tried,
that's right.
um, knowing that you can do other things with them afterwards,
Mm,
and find a way to communicate. And I think that's what it is with creatives. You know, we're so invested in the images that we take. If
yeah.
we do them wholeheartedly, and we're really personal and connected, then they mean a lot to us.
Mhm.
And it's hard to figure out, you know, when somebody else sees a picture, are they going to feel what I felt? How do I how do I get this across the best I can? And it's pretty tough because nobody gets the backstory. They don't get a
Right.
title, see an image, especially if they're
Still
scrolling,
image. Right. Scrolling
right?
quickly. Mhm.
So how do you really stop them in their tracks? And I think it's a tough thing to teach, certainly tougher than any technical
Mhm.
components of photography.
Mhm.
But it just boils down to, you know, not overthinking it. You're following this more than you're following that. I think
Yeah.
this probably holds us back, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carolina Nori was on last week and she was saying the same thing that many people are so focused on the technical and it's hard to teach the creative.
Oh.
But she was teaching it like through exposure compensation and like trying to be a little more creative. And she said it is hard sometimes to teach that.
Well, and as well, when you're learning those technical components, that's where that's where your mind is,
Right.
right? Because
Right.
you're sorting through all of these different things and trying to, you know, well, if I change this,
Yes,
what does that mean here? Especially at the
absolutely.
beginning. And once you get to that point that those things become intuitive and you're
Mhm.
not investing thought, then everything you have can go into what's unfolding.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why you've got to get out and shoot. Could be ants or butterflies or dandelions, who cares? Whatever it is, just
Right.
learning all those elements of the camera so that you don't have to give anything of yourself to that part. You can just
Yes.
focus on,
It,
yeah.
it it does take a lot because it's a lot of numbers and a lot of concepts. It's like, but you just have to sort of jump into it. I remember when my mentor was like, okay, now you're ready to start like muscle memory. I don't want you to take your thing down. I want you the next 3 months for you to use the dials and don't. And I'm like, wait, what dials? What do you mean?
I'll wait.
Wait, what? You're kidding, right? Like people
See,
do that? But then
well, and
you get it.
And that's where I think too, I love to do cross genre. I mean, I'll go into
Yes.
something I've never tried before or didn't even think I wanted to try before, just to be uncomfortable and
Mhm.
to have to learn and apply knowledge from landscape and sports into my night photography.
Yeah.
What is it that I didn't even think I would ever use somewhere else that I'm going to tap into now?
Yeah.
And all those different things. I always talk to people about using your camera in the genres like an athlete would train, right? They never do one exercise all the time. They're constantly challenging their muscles and pushing their envelope so that they're getting better and stronger. And I think it's the same with photography. If we experiment with different things, doesn't mean you do all of them professionally, but
Right.
getting out of the comfort zone and being humble and learning all over again from scratch and having people laugh at you and laughing with them and just enjoying it
Yeah.
and really being able to develop those basic skills
Yeah.
means a
Well,
lot.
it's a lot to learn. So I just had to be like patient with myself. Oh yeah, I forgot that part. Let me step back and then add it all up again,
Yeah.
because it is a lot of to learn and a lot of gear to get used to. Um, so I think people just need to be patient with and just keep practicing like that. Like you said, it's a very good advice. And
Well,
in
we've
the
all done
different genres. Yeah. Yeah.
right? We've all started there at some
Yeah.
point and started and stopped, started, stopped, beat ourselves up, struggle to get off of automatic. Like
Yep.
everybody's gone through that. So
Yep.
even the best of the best that you see and that you admire out there, you know, whether they remember it or not, they started at the start line too. So
That's
yeah,
right. And it takes, and just be patient with yourself because I
right
think a
about
lot of people say, oh, I've always wanted to have a camera. I've always wanted to be able to do that.
Hmm.
And, and then you're like, yeah, I said that for a long time till I was brave enough and would spend money on myself to get that Rebel. I'd wanted one
Right.
forever. And then you're like you said, in automatic, what do I do? Then
Yep.
you're doing your son's soccer games and the light is fading as the night goes on and you got to learn about ISO and shutter speed and just like got
Yeah.
to just jump in.
So
So
then it goes in the closet for a year or two, and then you pull it out again. You're
again,
ready.
people do that. I've heard so many people, oh, my camera's been in my closet forever. It's like, but you
Yeah.
spent the money and you want to do it, do it. So I'm kind of thankful I did find it like later because maybe I was ready. Like you said, photography kind of found you. It does
Yeah.
seem to do that. These
No,
creative things are kind of waiting dormant and then they find you and light you up. It's so fun.
exactly. Exactly. They're
It's so
always there.
fun. And you use your teaching, your guiding, but your images to help promote ethical practices in photography.
Oh my gosh.
Right. It's a big problem. I think,
Yeah.
even since COVID, like even my little 105 nature preserve, people were acting crazy. And then I knew like the Tetons and Yellowstone, people were acting. So I think things have calmed down, but do you have tips? Like, do you have things that you've seen? And then do
Oh,
you have the positive side of tips where we can do better?
oh, for sure. I think some of the disappointing things I've seen, obviously baiting and luring,
Mhm.
happens. And the unfortunate part is how much we alter the animal's behavior. And of course, because I've spent so much time with owls now,
Mhm.
I love the fact I can flip through and see images and see them hunting, and I can tell right away if they were actually hunting or if they were coming in on
Mhm.
bait,
Mhm.
because it's very
Mhm.
different behavior. And I've seen owls in the wild act different, where normally they don't really notice you. You just have body language you can study and to get an idea of what way they're going to go or what they're going to be doing, but they don't typically notice you. And I've had one situation one time. I had walked in and the owl was back in the forest quite a ways, and I really liked that they were back where they were, and I
Yeah.
thought it was going to make a nice picture. And I went down into the ditch and I sat down and I went to pull my camera up and it took off and it started flying towards me. And
Oh
rather than putting it
no.
up, I just like, holy crap. He's and so close. And I leaned right back and he landed 2 feet in front of me on the post that was there. But after that, I mean, I've had them come right to me before and just kind of keep going. But as soon as he landed, he leaned forward and he was rocking back and forth and looking at me. And it's like, oh my gosh, buddy, it's breaking
No.
my heart.
Yeah.
I got nothing for you. And
And I
that's,
won't ever have anything for you. Oh, no.
nope,
That's too
so
bad.
sorry. Yeah, and the risk of that is, obviously they're going to come in low or come across and
Mhm,
get
mhm.
struck by a vehicle because they're attracted to them. They're attracted to people, they're
Yes.
attracted to vehicles and crowds, and that's really disappointing.
Yeah.
The crowding, harassment, obviously, when you see, and there's lots of times, especially with my girlfriends, and I love that about the people that I keep company with. If you see an animal that's not comfortable anymore, they are always telling us if they're stressed. It's just whether or not we know enough to see the
Mhm,
signals.
mhm, mhm,
And when you do, you need to leave. You just,
mhm.
they don't need one more person sticking a camera or one more person, um, you know, building that stress level up. I think it's good to lead by example and to say something. And there's lots of times where, we'll be in a group and all of a sudden you see them, starting to step side to side, or you see them drooling. It's like, you know what? They're not comfortable. There's just too
Mm.
many people
Too much
now, and this
stress.
guy's gone around the side, and now it's going to feel like they're
Yep.
I'm not staying. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
What do you guys want to do? Are you coming or not? And
Yeah.
you have those conversations around other people, and it helps the other people learn without you telling them
Yeah.
that what's going wrong. And you just have to hope that they are tuned into that, that they're listening.
Yeah.
And I think social media is another place. Sometimes you see. I think our industry is pretty good, but people just really need to be careful if they've got something that is more at risk or endangered, being very careful about how obvious a place or a location you took the photo.
Yeah.
So most of the times if I'm photographing owls of any kind, it's from Alberta. That's about as
Right. Right.
general or specific, I should say, as I will get.
Mhm.
Because our birds aren't migrant. They live here year round.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's been a lot of issues of people crossing fence lines, going onto private
Oh,
property.
goodness.
And we're
Oh,
seeing more and
goodness.
more locals like storming out of the houses and yelling. Even if you're not doing anything wrong, they're just triggered right
Tired of
now.
it. Right.
Yeah,
And with
and
people
we're gonna
doing
end up wrecking it.
tours, they need to watch that too and make sure, right, that the animals aren't baited and that, like, the owls aren't baited.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you need to do your homework. Yeah, make sure that the reviews, that the word, if you care, if you want to find out if somebody baits, you can find out.
Mhm.
There's lots of there's lots of places where you can resource information like that before you join someone. I had my very first trip to Alaska. We ran into another group with an absolute world renowned photographer, which I was just like, wow, that's him. I can't believe it. And we were a ways away. And we didn't want to, because of where they were, we thought if we moved across and they continued, we'd be too much in the same area and it could pose stress. So we stayed to see where they went. And for the next 10 minutes, I mean, my entire vision of this gentleman was absolutely demolished. I watched him take his walking sticks and chase a bear towards his group. So they had
Oh
pictures
my goodness.
numerous times, not just once.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
saw him, shooing cubs out. I saw him then take the group over to where a mom was with her 3 cubs sleeping on the snow, and they had completely surrounded her. From our distance, it's hard to say, but it looked like they were maybe 10 feet away, um, in this perimeter. And she finally had to get up and move all 3 of them. It was the only snow
Mhm.
left in the area. She was laying on top of it. Um, and with all that condensed action with male and female bears, keeping the
Right.
cubs safe is priority. So
Right.
it
She's working
was
hard to do that. Yeah.
devastating to see this person coming out with a large group of people and demonstrating that kind of behavior. And I was just, I mean, I videotaped it,
Mhm.
just in shock. It's like I've got to, maybe I'm not picking up on something, and I watched it
Yeah.
over and over again, and I just could not believe it,
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
was seeing. And this is someone that's pretty renowned for their wildlife tours.
Yeah. And you're
It's
not the first person that said that on the podcast about, world renowned or like a known and then being very disappointed. So
yeah, it's really
hopefully things are changing because of social
hopefully.
media. You're going to get called out. But even when some have been called out in the last few years, not much really happens because they have so much power. So
Yeah, and for
interesting.
some people, it's a shot at all costs. And
Right. Right. Right.
that's a conscious decision and commitment that we would have to make as creatives.
Right. And you're going
Mhm.
to be leading with focus photo tours. And I know that's not the mission of that group. Right.
Oh my gosh, they are the best people with
Yeah.
most beautiful intentions and experiences that they're putting together for photographers and even travelers, spouses of photographers. You don't
Mhm.
have to have a camera, but
Right. Right.
have those meaningful, deep connecting moments with our planet and with those that inhabit. There's just nothing like it, and
Yeah.
it's just
I
such a treat to
I
be
got
part
to
of.
have Scott and Jackie on, and I've had Dee on, I've had Tracy on, and like they
Yeah,
are so kind and just the way that they treat their clients. So I know that they'll pass that mission down, as they
yeah.
go. So I'm sure you're
And that's
super excited to be a part of that.
so much so. And that type of, I think when you start a company with that as your foundation, it
Hmm.
just trickles
Hmm.
all the way down, and
Hmm.
that's how we make change. It's one person, it's one
That's
traveler,
right.
it's one opportunity at a time, and it's not quick, but it's powerful. So
Right.
um yeah, just aligning yourself again. We talked about that earlier, the right people,
Hmm.
and I mean, Dee and I met, we met online. We chatted a bit, and first time we actually spent time together, I flew to Costa Rica and hung out with her for a week, which
That's
is
so
just so
nice.
random, so random. And you don't know, right? I'm staying with this person. You don't know if you're going to hate each other, get along good, or
Yeah, yeah.
And I think it was the second day we were out and we were photographing somewhere, and some gentleman asked us, man, how long have you guys been friends? Long time, hey? And we're like, yeah. We're like,
That's
what?
wonderful.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. And it's
wonderful.
felt like a lifelong friendship.
Yes,
So that's,
yes.
you're with the right people.
Yeah. Yes.
And everything means more. It's
Yeah.
pretty special.
Yeah. And do you have what tours are you leading with Focus Photo
Ah,
next year or
okay.
you 2 years? You probably have them planned out this year and next year, right?
Yeah, starting. Yeah. So
Yeah, yeah.
this year or for next year coming up, we'll have Kutsumateen, which is a
Mhm.
kind of a posh bear experience, if you will.
Ooh.
Like, stay on a floating lodge. It has a sauna and it has
Oh,
stand-up paddle
wow.
packs. And yeah, you can have your nice coffee in the Adirondack chair while the sunrise comes
It's
up
on
through
my
the
list. It's on my
oh,
list. So
it's beautiful. And we're in covered zodiacs, and I don't fill the boat. Like, we have less people on our photo tours so that people have
yes,
room to get into the
yes.
right positions. So you can get just beautiful low eye level,
Wow.
video and photography, and you can be on anything from a 70 to 200 um to a 1 to 5, and you'll never need more than that if you don't want more. I've had my 600 out there, and there's lots of times I have to just leave it on the bottom of the
Yeah,
boat.
yeah,
It's
wow.
way too much lens.
Yeah, yeah. And that's bears.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
it is it the spirit bear? I always get that confused.
So
Are
good
spirit bears or is that more
no.
Vancouver Island? That's Vancouver
Yeah,
Island, right? Or no,
yeah, there
Vancouver.
it's Great Bear
Oh,
Rainforest.
great. Yes. I get it all
Yep.
confused. I need to like just study Canada better. And I do, and then I still get it all confused.
The Great Bear Rainforest is a really long section
Okay, yeah.
of the coastline. So the Kutsumateen is one tiny little inlet
Yes,
inside
yes.
there. So it's one spot that we go into, but the places we stop on the way to that inlet each day,
Mhm,
those all have bears on them as
mhm,
well.
mhm.
And we've seen bears, whales, eagles,
Oh,
obviously,
wow.
otters, seals, you name it. We have seals and jellyfish all around the lodge.
Oh, wow.
It's just a great experience. And even this year, the tour I'm on, two of the people coming on the tour aren't photographers at all.
Hmm.
They're coming with their spouses who are photographers, but they
Mhm.
want to see for themselves. They want to
Yes,
experience,
that
these
magic.
close,
Yeah,
safe, encounters in the boat.
yeah,
And so I'm very excited to share that
yeah.
with them as well, because it's just like living through it all over again for the first time,
Yes,
when they
yes,
see
seeing that
it.
again. Yes. Well, it sounds like you're almost like on a different little
Beautiful.
magical fairyland.
Oh,
That
it's
that
great.
ecosystem. Yeah.
Well,
Very
there's
different
that.
than Indiana.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Here.
Yeah. No, it's pretty unique for sure. Then Alaska probably again will
Oh,
happen. There will be a Churchill. I think that one's 2027, but there'll be an
okay.
India
Oh,
trip
yes,
again
yes.
coming
And
up.
you've done that before. You've done India.
It's
Yes.
wow. Yeah. It was
Everyone's
never
talking about India.
never even on my list at
Yes,
all as
yes.
a place to go to, and what an eye-opening experience
Mm,
that was.
mm,
It's I'm really excited to share that, because it is not
yes.
what people think.
Yeah,
Not at all.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
really
And
beautiful.
tigers, right? Yeah.
So many species of animals, hundreds and hundreds of species of animals. I mean, the tigers were great, but watching the wild dogs, we had some
Oh,
sessions with
that's
wild
fun.
dogs that even our drivers and the guides were losing their damn minds. I don't understand. These are more rare than the tigers. And they were so excited watching the interactions, and yeah, because of that time of year, the water's really limited, right? So you're
Yeah, yeah.
forcing all your prey and predators into one
Oh,
place
wow.
at a time. So the types of interactions, we were watching these sambar deer, which are kind of like our elk. They're pretty big, and
Mhm,
they're in the water. They got pushed back because all this big family of 9 wild dogs showed up. And wild dogs will take down a deer. They'll take down a tiger,
mhm, mhm,
the only animal that can, especially in those numbers. So
mhm.
they're kind of trying to get to these deer, and the deer are retreating back because the dogs don't like the water, and they're pushing them and pushing them. And all of a sudden, one of them goes completely vertical and starts running. It's like, what just happened? And right behind them, crocodile in the water. So these sambar deer
Oh my
are trying to
goodness.
decide the best of two evils here. Where do they go? And as that's unfolding, all the mongoose are running out of the
You're like,
woods.
I did not expect this.
There's
Wow.
so much happening at any given point in time.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
beautiful to watch, though, how everything's so connected, and
Yes,
action has a reaction and a trickle down effect. And
yes.
so much to learn. I am so excited to go back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Your
pretty fun.
tiger images have been beautiful over the last weeks. They're just beautiful.
Yeah, it's funny how that's what Clint was saying. My husband came with me, and he's like, "You haven't posted many tiger pictures." And I've got so much other cool tiger's tiger. There's lots of tigers, but yeah, there was just so many other neat moments, and that may or may not be for everyone. But if I'd
Yeah,
like to just be open to what nature gives us and
yeah.
really take in, and watching our guides again, like we had a couple bird interactions that he just came unglued. I mean, they're so
That's
calm
fun.
and going, and they're like, whoa, whoa. Boy, I'm like, what is it, a bird? Is it a plant? What are you looking at?
That
Trying to
is
tell you.
fun.
And then you get a few pictures, and of course we have our mirrorless, so they don't hear anything,
Right,
right?
right,
Like,
right.
get any? I'm like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, no. And
Yeah,
there's a
fire
video.
it
And
away.
oh, they're so excited for it. Like, wow, okay, this is
Oh, that
great.
is
So
fun. Well, I
yeah,
mean, I think that that whole interconnectedness, that's why it's so important to you to partner with some of these organizations that you do to
absolutely.
promote that for our planet and continue that
Absolutely.
conservation. So can you tell us a little bit about some of the organizations that you work with?
Well, I've been really, really fortunate to start being able to do that. I
Mhm.
definitely want to do a lot
Yeah,
more.
yeah,
Seeing your images being used to change policy, to raise money to fight for the things that you're starting to really appreciate
that's gotta
means a
feel
lot.
really good. Yeah,
And I've only done the smallest possible amount. I mean, I look at what so many people put into fundraising and into awareness and advocating for our climates and our animals and environments, and it's inspiring. So Jane Goodall, and this came again. These are doors that open windows that open doors. So the owl picture earlier that did World Photographic Cup, when COVID stopped and they went to do the award ceremony for World Photographic Cup was in Rome. So I fly to Rome, and in Rome I meet Michelle Valberg, fellow Canadian. Go figure. I had to go there to meet her. Got along. We had so much fun right off the hop.
Good.
Yep. And came back, and we had stayed in touch, and had gone out on a trip together and just had an even better time. And then there was an opportunity to get involved with one of the events that Jane Goodall Group was putting on, and I did. And from then I've been each year been able to join.
That's wonderful.
Help raise money.
Yeah.
And it's
but I think like she says, like each person does their part, each person. So even if you think you're doing a small part, it is a part of the whole, and it's a good time. We have resources now to help. And I think the news seems so daunting, but when you think about, well, I'll just do it in my little local nature preserve, or I'll use my image to do this, each person can help.
Oh, there's so many people looking for support, that need it out there, that are trying to make a difference. So those skills can be used in some really creative ways. And that's not even, it doesn't have to be limited to wildlife either.
Right.
I mean,
right.
If that means volunteering for a women's shelter, or, a youth program somewhere, and providing them with imagery and inspiring them to be creative, then this is great too.
Yes. I was just listening to a podcast this week, and the person was saying, whatever skill you have, whatever gift you have, use it for the environment. If you're good at teaching children, do that. If you're good in creating poetry, do that. If you're good at research, do that. And I was like, oh, that was so encouraging. That was great.
Yeah, it's all it takes. Just something. It's more than nothing, and it makes a difference. Moves the needle. So
yeah. So my podcast is not just women.
Of course.
I think it seems like it this last month because it just worked out that way. But I've had fabulous men and women photographers on, but I think there is a difference. And even a couple of weeks ago, someone commented, wow, I didn't know this difference, how women see photography. This is a generalization, but women see photography a little differently than men. And I think you referenced it earlier, like the emotion of that moment. Sometimes you have to step away from the technical, but there are a lot of similarities as well, and a lot of camaraderie, which is wonderful. So, but how do we get more women in the field? How do we get more women represented? Do you have opinions on that?
Yeah, I think, you're a great example. What you've done, putting together an opportunity for people to share. And it's not just women, but the fact a woman is doing it, is very inspiring. And, you just have to be so fierce, I think, with the things that you want to do, and not wait for them to come to you, not wait for that. You can't just put a feeler out there once and say, well, it didn't work. You just keep pounding on doors and walking the walk, and really go after the things that you want in your life. And I think with not just women, I know, and we've said it before too, talking about men and women being very emotional. I refer to that group now as creatives. I think the creatives that are out, female or male, they're they tend to be more connected and more vulnerable to connection and to emotions, possibly, and discovery of how they feel about things. And I think that's a massive asset. Now it's also a danger, because because you care so much, and because you're that invested. And I think that's the balance, is you need to, especially if you like photography side of things, or if you're doing it as a career, you need to find the offset, the side that fills the cup again, that you're doing just for you. You're not doing for a contract. You're not doing for a paycheck. You're just doing it because you suddenly realize you've been smiling for 45 minutes straight.
Wonderful.
Right? Like
that's a good barometer. Yes.
That's what
You're
you've
still
got.
smiling when you get home. I've had that. I'm in bed and I'm still smiling and like shaking.
And that's when you know you're doing
That's when
something
you
right.
know.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think just being really supportive and giving back. I've,
Yeah.
again, from the second I picked up a camera, I had someone give me advice about um, just buy the best lens you can afford, and whatever's left, you find a camera body. And
Yeah.
that's how I started. And I used that same lens for 15 years. It
Yep.
was an amazing lens. Great advice, but you know, it's the same advice I pass on. So if you've got people that support you and care for you, just pay it forward as
Yeah.
much
That's
as
good
you
advice.
can.
Yeah.
Just
That's really
pay it
good
forward.
advice.
Bring
Yeah.
the next on,
Yep.
fill them with, embrace the differences, and
Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah,
share.
we've tried to say that on this. I've had several guests we've talked about instead of having that scarcity mindset to lift other people up and feel like there's enough room for everybody. There's enough wildlife and nature to shoot. We don't
Well,
have
and
to hoard it.
it's such a different environment. Like sports was so
Oh, I'm
competitive,
sure. I'm sure you have stories.
so competitive. And
And
then
I didn't do it
nobody
professionally,
cared.
but even here in my own town for a while, it was
Oh,
like the high school stuff. I'm like, okay, everybody, I'm backing out. I don't need any of this. So it's so
yeah. And
interesting.
it's harsh. And I saw a lot of, especially men, I saw a lot of men burn out
Yes,
because
yes.
they could never, they had to fight all the
Yeah, I've
time. They
seen
had to
that
fight
too. Yeah, yeah.
for every shot.
Too
And
bad.
this is the polar opposite. It's the opposite of fighting. You can't go into nature fighting for a shot.
Right.
It
That's a
doesn't
good
come to
quote.
you. You need to go and let it gift it to you. You need to just be,
Yes.
just, just
That's
be.
so good. That's so good. I love that. Well, if you have questions for Jackie, go ahead and put them in the Q&A, and I'm sure she would love to answer them.
You would love to try.
She would love to try and answer them, which I'm sure she can.
Yeah.
Um, and then, do you have a favorite piece of technical advice that you've gotten, or that you give? Either one.
Technical advice?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I'm drawing a total blank on
That's
technical
okay. That's
advice.
okay.
Um, I
Maybe
think
a
we're,
favorite or a favorite lens. Either one, something
oh,
like
yeah.
that.
Actually really started to use my wide angle lately, and I
Yes.
am loving it. And it took
Hmm.
took a hot minute to kind of work through the really awkward, these are all crap photos, what
Hmm.
am I thinking?
Yeah.
um Start to really figure out how to use it and isolate, a subject. You can't use it all the time, but sometimes there's nothing like it to tell the
Yes.
whole story and all the beautiful components of that story, and fitting them in.
Yeah.
It's been really, the Arctic has really helped me
Oh, I'm
develop
sure. I'm sure. Yes. Yes.
that. So
And
I'm
David
pretty
Dushman said that too. He said his keeper rate is not going down, it's going up because he's trying new things, trying that
well.
wide angle, trying things. And he's like, I don't like that keeper rate thing. He's like, my keeper rate is going to go, wait, down, down. He's like, because they're going to be crap. I'm going to get rid of so many. He's like, and then I know
Yep.
I'm being creative and trying new things. It's hard, but I'm trying new things. So that's what you're
Well,
saying.
and yeah, even with the types of genres that you try, like just
Yeah.
getting out there and trying new things. Like we have, Dee and I are going to do a course in, or a workshop in Costa
Hmm.
Rica together for
Hmm.
new photographers
Hmm.
specifically,
Yeah,
which
that's nice.
so excited about. So we've
Yes.
tried to keep the price as low as we possibly can. And when you look at the cost of what a camera is, and the literally the years and the tens of thousands of horrible photos you've got to go through to start feeling really great.
Yeah.
Um, I am so excited of all the treks I've got coming up. I am really looking forward to that, because that transformation, watching someone learn and understand and create, giving them
Hmm.
the power to create whatever's in here and whatever's in
Yeah.
here, is just so rewarding.
Yeah.
And have a whole group of people like that, so it's a nice safe environment, everyone's
Wonderful.
learning
Yes.
together. Oh, I'm
So
so
important.
excited.
That's so
Yeah,
important because it's
it'll be great.
intimidating to join a workshop
It is.
as a
And I mean,
beginner. Yes.
even with Canon, we have a futures program, which for young kids coming
Mhm.
in, and they are filled with all the same issues, maybe times 10 because they're younger too. As far as feeling the doubt and feeling the pressures and the whole between FOMO and imposter syndrome and all those things that,
Yeah.
how do I know when I've got it? And people tell me I've got to figure out my style, my identity. How do I find that? And
So
there's
much
no,
pressure.
and you just see them weighting themselves down. And it's like,
Oh,
guys, this is the walk. You're doing it. The fact
that's
that you're
right.
even asking those questions, that's how you find all that stuff. You go
That's right.
through all this crap and you
Yeah.
come out the other side.
Yep.
And eventually you look back and people are asking you how you did it. And you go, how I did what?
That's
What?
exactly right. Yep.
When did I come out here? Like, how did I do that? It's such a quick change from being in awe of everyone to somebody saying, oh my gosh, are you so and so? And it's like, what?
Yeah.
What
It's
happened?
so
What
true.
happened?
Yeah.
It's weird.
I was just
Yeah.
looking at my work the other day and I was like, oh, looking back, like, oh my goodness. But it takes so
Oh
much
yeah.
time to learn and hone that skill and to have the experience. Like you don't get a great gray owl experience like that every day. So, it takes time for all those things to come together. And yeah.
Well, and thank gosh it happened when it did. If it had happened a year sooner, I wouldn't have caught the
It's so
boat.
true. It's so
I
true.
know I
Yeah.
wouldn't.
It's so true. Well,
So,
Heidi Ferguson says, "What do you prefer, a portrait or environmental shot that tells us a portrait or an environmental shot that tells the story about the animal?" Thanks, Heidi.
oh, that's a great question, Heidi. I would have always said portrait before. Portrait gets a lot of traction on social media
The
feeds
little
because
square.
it's
Yes.
the details
Yeah.
and such, but I really try with most of the posts I do, they're probably for the most part carousels because I try to add that environmental
Mm.
component to show
That's a good
where
tip. Yeah.
they were. And it's interesting to people because, they get to see the details, which they could technically find in a zoo too. But it's really exciting to be able to see where that animal was and see the detail in them.
Mhm.
I think right now my favorite has been learning to do better, more impactful environmental images, but it's been a grind. It wasn't easy. I just assume it'd be easy. I'd have no idea why I'd assume that, but uh, it was
It's
not. It
all
was
easy, right?
hard. No, go figure. I didn't just magically have that skill. So I'm learning slowly and
Yes,
making lots
yes,
of mistakes
yes.
and loving it.
Yeah.
I think I just fail more times than most have probably tried. That's the secret right there.
Yeah. Well, Jenny Cannon asks, Jackie, tell us a little bit about sports photography. What is your favorite sport to shoot, and do you still
Mm.
shoot sports? Jenny is a wildlife photographer, but she does shoot a lot of her kids' sports. They play a lot of
Oh,
sports, and she plays a lot. She shoots them
oh,
too.
nice.
Yeah.
There's there's no question. I love photographing the extreme sports.
Mhm.
Just again because I usually really know the athletes well. Um, my favorite images have been of my own son.
I was gonna
Um,
say, didn't know if you wanted to say that or not, but
yeah, no, without a doubt. And that was actually my second door opening back into sports was when he made the cut to go to X Games with his snow bike racing, and they had called back up, Yamaha had, and we had chatted about going to be their photographer because they didn't have anyone. And I had worked for Yamaha years
yeah,
prior,
yeah.
so people were still in place, and that was fortunate. So I went down there and got to be there not just the first year, but we had such a great first year. Then the next 3 years after that, and watched him win every medal that
Yeah,
he did.
everything.
It was
Yes.
their very first gold medal, which I mean, I took photos, freaking tears streaming down
I
my
was gonna say
and I
that's gotta
wanted
be
to hug him and hold
amazing.
him, and I couldn't breathe the whole 20 minutes he was out there and leading the
Yeah.
race, and they crashed and then,
Ugh,
got back up, and it was just agonizing.
yeah.
And honestly, I think the camera becomes a great filter. If you are a mom,
Mm,
watching sports, and the more risky the sport or the tougher the sport is, honestly, I found that camera is like a big filter.
mhm.
It changes the mindset because you invest more as a photographer than you do as just being mom. And I think it made it easier to handle the stuff that happened behind the lens than if I was just standing in a crowd watching it, in all honesty. So I think it's a great thing to do. I do still shoot sports. I still shoot for freestyle motocross, as well as NHL, our Calgary Flames, and CFL, the Stampeders games, which I love to photograph. The energy is just, it's just relentless. And
Yes,
there's
yes.
that, and that's what makes it fun, right? The energy in the crowd and on the benches, and it's just contagious.
Yeah,
You
yeah, I miss it. I miss
yeah.
shooting sports.
Ah,
Yeah.
see, you need to get out there, Miss Jen.
I know, I know. My son just went back into baseball since like he was little. So we decided I'm going to do baseball again all of a sudden. So we're kind of starting again.
Right.
Right now,
Yeah.
he looks more kind of like the cool manager on the sidelines. But
That's all right.
hopefully next year we'll get it back in there a little more.
Oh, do it. Do it. Atta girl. And they
So
love it too.
yeah,
Anyway.
yeah. Leanne Green asks, what countries or areas do you think are underrated for wildlife experiences and which are being overpressured with visitors? Yeah.
Oh, that's a great question. Having recently come back from India, no question that that's undervalued for opportunities. And birds, it doesn't matter, birds and mammals, and it's just rich with biodiversity. And to the point, I mean, we were back in one of the parks one day, and I heard them talking, and I was sure that they were saying owl, and I said, did one of you see an owl right there? And she's like, oh yes, back in that tree. I'm like, well, we need to stop and go back.
Turn that right.
Like, do you know who you're talking to right now? I have a problem. I love owls. So we go back, and as it turns out, they had no idea that I would care about owls. And she's like,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
they're all over the place. I said, what? And I mean, I'm talking like almost
Oh,
peeping,
yes,
so
yes.
cute, to jungle owls, to brownfish owl. They had 5 different species. I got to photograph all of them,
That's
which
amazing.
they didn't even care about. I mean,
You're
and
like, I want these species of owls. Give them to me. That's amazing.
people, you're missing some important thing. Even so up in the trees, they have these great big wasp nests that are up in the trees, and they look like, big brown sacks that are hanging from the trees, and they're way up there. And one of the drivers, and I had been to 3 parks, nobody had said anything. This is the last park, and he said, bees, wasp, they're bee nest. And I said, yeah, I know. And he's kind of looking at me like, you want to take a picture? And I'm like, okay, I'll take the camera up. It's like, so I take the camera up and I'm looking, and I said, the bees on the outside of that nest, it looks like the whole thing's moving. And she says, yeah, that's how they form a nest. And then we got talking about how these hives work, and these honey buzzards that come in and break the hives. And when they break and they fall, when you get stung by these bees, they leave like a little beacon. It's not a beacon, but it's like a pheromone of some sort,
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
drives the rest of them insane. And you can drive 80 kilometers an hour, and they are following you, all of them.
Oh my goodness. Like you
And
see
as
in the cartoons when you're little.
yes, and as you travel, those pheromones trigger all the other
Oh
nests.
no.
Yeah, so if you have something like that happen, you've got to be hyper aware. But
Yeah,
I
yeah.
started videotaping the outside of this beehive that is just teeming with these little bees that are vibrating, and I had no idea the
Yeah,
whole time.
yeah.
It's just
He's like,
one
this
more
lady
thing.
likes things with wings. I better show her the bees.
I couldn't believe it. There's just everywhere you
That's
look, there
so
were so
cool.
many different
Yes.
animals.
Yeah, abundance. Yeah.
That's definitely one of the most surprising. That in the Arctic, I think,
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
For as vast an area as that is, it's
Yeah.
definitely underrated. I think one of the more pressured places, which is a little bit concerning, might be in Churchill.
Mm.
And not because of the guides. There are some really caring, responsible guides that work there, make a career out of this, and do a great job with their tours. But there are also a lot of people that just hop a train and rent a car and try and follow other people around, and that can cause a lot of issues, people not really knowing for sure where to go, not knowing, safety precautions
Very
exactly.
dangerous.
Or
Yeah.
I mean, I watched a man hold his son's hand and walk from their vehicle all the way out towards the edge of the ice over all the rocks, and the bear sleep between the rocks. And the guide that we were with, when I saw him walking out, he's about halfway out, and I said, who is that guy? Because I couldn't see a gun or any kind of
Oh
equipment on
dear.
him.
Mm-hmm.
And he went, what the hell? And
Mm-hmm.
he
Mm-hmm.
hopped in the truck and took off, and he was just yelling at the guy. And he's like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm so tired of this happening. And I think that if there's anything I can say to people that are traveling into other places, and I don't care if it's Patagonia or India or Africa or any of these places or even BC, go with the guides. Go with the guides from there that are responsible and that are ethical, and you will have such a good experience if you
Yeah.
do that. If you're going with people that know the animals, they will know them on a different level. They'll understand their behavior. You'll become educated in that,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll just have a better, safer experience, which means a better outcome for the animals as well,
Right.
because
Right.
they respond to consistency and
Yeah.
predictability. And it's when you
Mhm.
throw all these variables at them that you get those unwanted and unexpected behaviors that cause problems, I think.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And a good guide will model that good behavior. Right.
absolutely. And you will
Mhm.
get your money's worth 10 times over.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, D Webb says many people don't sign up for trips because they don't think they are good enough. What's one thing you wish every photographer knew before they come on a trip with you? She's
How bad
setting
I
you up.
was when I
Get this one out of the
started.
ballpark. She's setting you up for a great, that's a great question, D.
Oh, thanks, D. Um, you know what? The value of us as people or as creatives is not reflected in a single picture or our portfolios.
Mhm.
Um, we all have the strength to be a voice and to be passionate and to share that with other people. So regardless of where you are, I mean, skills can be taught easily, experience can be gained over time. It's
Mhm.
just patience. But I just want, when people come out, to find themselves, to enjoy what's around them, to celebrate the beauty around them,
Mhm.
to enjoy the challenge and enjoy each other. And it's, for me, I I see photography as a lifeline. Of You think of all the vices we have options of in our world when we're struggling, when we need to escape, there is nothing more powerful and positive than photography. You get to, in full clarity of mind, take the entire world and erase it and just be here.
Mhm.
And that is just so healthy and so inspiring.
Mhm.
So to be able to share that with people, I just hope everyone feels like they can just come and be who you are. And
Yeah.
we're going to laugh. We're going to laugh a lot. We're going to have fun.
I can imagine. I can imagine. That's wonderful. I think, and you're more than your social media likes too. So
Oh,
many
yeah.
people, I mean, it's so affects people, it affects me, it affects everyone when you see those numbers. Or I think I've grown and gotten better, but it's like I've just, that's you're worth more than that too. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And you have to be your own value, right? You've got
That's
to
right. That's right.
find it for yourself. If you're not enough without it, you'll never be enough with it. So
Yeah, and Dee's so good about that. It's talking about that on our episode. So if
I
people want to check
know
her out, it's like such a sweet episode.
that
I came
holding
away from
holding
that.
space, right?
Yes, I came away from
Oh,
that like, "Whoa, I needed that." That was
yeah.
wonderful. I listened to it like a couple more times because it was like, I think when I'm doing them, I don't necessarily hear, or I hear it, but I'm like, I'm like in the zone. Then I listen to it again. I'm like, that was really good. That was so good. And
Wow.
Dee was so good with that. Um,
Well, and that's the kind of person you want to be around, right?
that's
I'm
right.
so excited that, she's one of my people now,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
that I get to spend time with. And we were planning out today some time we get to spend with each other here in
Oh,
May.
good.
Oh
Because
yeah.
you're both going to
So
Light Chasers, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, she's speaking.
I
Woohoo!
know. I'm
I know.
excited for her. I'm proud of
Yeah,
her. Yes.
exactly. And those are stories people need to hear,
I was
and
going to
you know,
say, yes.
getting uncomfortable and sharing your story. Just there's going to be someone out there that needed to hear exactly what you said. It didn't
That's right.
matter what was said, it doesn't matter what the message was, but somebody out there needed to hear it, and
Yeah.
only you had that voice. So
Yeah.
it's important to share.
Yeah. She's going to touch a lot of people.
Yeah, she will.
So let's do the speed round quickly.
Oh,
I think you might have
okay.
do you have props for this?
I
Do
have
you
one.
have
I have
one?
one problem.
What's in your camera bag that you can't do without?
That's the one prop I have. Believe it or not, this.
Okay, what is it?
So, this is actually a fishing pole
Oh,
holder, and it just clips on, right? Little belt style,
mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm.
But I keep this on me all the time. I keep my camera on a monopod. The
Yeah.
monopod sits in here. So this holds the weight of my camera. All I need to do is forward and backward, or I have it on a,
Oh, wow.
and if I need to go down low to the ground, because it's just waist high, I can get right down to the ground and it
Yeah.
still sits in that pocket. And if I have to stand up right away, I stand up and it stays with me. It's the same height the whole time, right up where I need it for my eyes. But it saves the shoulders, it saves the hands and the arms, especially when you're waiting for that animal to do something,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
anything. Those can be long waits sometimes. So I've
Yes.
found that that has made life with the 600 or 100, 500
Mm-hmm.
very palatable. It's
That's
really
nice.
helped.
That's a good tip. And so you're not adjusting that monopod all the time. It's
Never,
set. Oh, see, that's nice.
never.
That's a
It's
good
just,
idea.
it moves with me as I move.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
height stays static. And I use
Yeah.
that on the football fields at the CFL. I got laughed at so bad the first time I took that out. And I am not the only one using one now.
You're like, haha.
Yeah, it works
Danny,
great.
Danny says
Yeah.
that's genius. It is.
Oh,
I
and
think
cheap.
I fumble more with a monopod or a tripod than I do anything.
And I don't like either of them, especially from the sports side, right?
I
You have
know.
to be so mobile and
Yes.
versatile. And so when I went to wildlife, it was just like, how am I ever going to be anchored down by one of those? And
Right.
that's what I came up with anyway. And
That's
that
a
works pretty
great,
good.
that is great, Jackie. That's awesome. I hope everybody heard that. And then what's something in your camera bag that you bought but you never use?
Mosquito net.
Okay. I took
I
mine to Alaska and it just sort of I mixed it with like a I forget what it's not Dramamine, but it's something like it. And then
okay.
the mosquito net on and was walking and like, oh yeah, that was not a good combo for me. Like so now I'm scared of them.
In my mind, I thought it would work so well. And
Oh,
even, even in our Alaska trip, we're sitting in long grass in
yeah.
July and there's hardly any. I
Right. I had the same thing. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't bad. So I'm
They
like, I
said
can
they're going to
live.
be the size of birds. They're going
I
to carry
know. Everybody
things.
scares you before you go. And then I'm like,
I
yeah, I'm
had
taking this thing on.
two. I
Yeah.
had two nets in my bag. They don't come with me
You're like,
anymore.
Jackie, are you in there? Are you in there?
Yeah. So,
So
yeah.
what's your favorite snack while editing or driving around looking for owls?
Oh, I'm a salty girl. I like the
Mhm.
chips,
Yeah.
chips, crunchy, chips, cheesies, you name it.
Yeah.
Sadly, they like me too. They don't go anywhere. They stay with me. It's great. Yeah, probably the crunchy stuff,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. Do you have an experience that just really touched you, touched your soul, touched your
Oh,
emotions? I know it's hard to pick one. Does the one stand out tonight?
yeah, I had a experience when we were in Africa. It's kind of funny. It came on a day that we had this beautiful encounter with these gorillas, and it was being able to sit in the grass and watch them interact and how tight the family was. And then they had a little 3-month-old, tiny little baby,
Mm-hmm.
and the mom was hanging on, and the baby's all just really wobbly and not very steady at all. Yeah, that's the little one there. And that's mom. She was pretty casual, very
Mm-hmm.
calm and happy to have us around. And this little monkey's literally kind of crawling around and trying to get bearing. And when she grabbed a hold of him and she just cupped him in her arms, just like we would cradle a little child.
Mm-hmm.
And then she was holding him, and with her, she was watching his feet, and he was kind of kicking a little bit. And then she reached down and she grabbed him by the ankle with these great big massive hands, grabbed him by the ankle, and she just started bouncing his foot. And he just relaxed, and you saw his,
Oh,
and you've seen moms do that with babies, right? Like just,
yes, yes.
and it's like, what is happening? That's
Oh,
so beautiful.
it's so
And
sweet.
yeah, it really hit me, that connection, and how beautiful and tender it was. And and then
Mhm,
she sat
mhm.
him up again, and he was sitting on the ground right next to her. And I was just photographing him sitting in the grass, and all of a sudden an arm reached down in the frame and poked him on the back. And he kind of wobbly, kind of turning around slowly. I'm like, what is going on? And I look, and on a branch right above him is his sibling, younger
Mhm,
sister, I think. We're not sure,
mhm,
but
mhm.
anyway, and he would get turned all the way around, and then she'd reach down with the other hand and poke him,
Oh,
and he would turn around slowly and all wobbly again. It's like this.
it's so sweet. Jackie,
Yeah.
these are some of the most beautiful gorilla photos I've ever seen.
There she is holding his little foot in her
Yes,
hand,
yes,
right?
they are
Just sat there
so
and bounced.
beautiful.
It was amazing to watch. And
You can
that's one of
feel the
those
emotion in all of these.
scenarios where you're trying to shoot through some tears for sure.
Yes,
'Cause you
yes.
felt
Was
pretty
this in
privileged.
Rwanda or Uganda?
In Uganda.
Yeah, yeah. Just gorgeous. They're just stunning. Stunning. And
Yeah.
what did you take with you on the hike out?
Um, for this one, so I had a wide angle for
Hmm.
that, and I had a 70 to 200. So a
Yeah,
60
yeah.
to 35 and a 70 to 200. That was shot with the 70 to 2.
Mhm.
And that's full frame.
Yeah,
That
gorgeous.
picture, that's
2.8.
not
Yeah, it's
cropped.
gorgeous. Yeah.
They were quite close.
Yes.
Sometimes you needed that wide angle just to get the
Yeah.
right
Oh,
kind of,
so
but
beautiful.
it's great opportunities,
Uh,
you know.
just gorgeous. When you sent those, I was like, whoa, just stunning. They just stop you in your tracks. So gorgeous. So you told
And
us about your focus photo tours. Those you've got tours coming up. It's very
yeah,
exciting. 25, 26 starting that, and 27 even you said. So
yeah.
I wish you guys all the best with that. And do you have other goals for 25 and 26 besides your tours and workshops? You're doing so much.
Yeah, more. Yes.
Want to put more on your
Um,
plate?
well, I'm hoping more on in this side. I still a partner in a business
Yes.
right now, so hopefully we can wind things down, at least my side of things, so that I can
Yes.
completely step away.
When you wrote me
That's
that,
what
I
we're
was like, how is she balancing all of that? Oh goodness.
that's what red wine's for sure. Um, just a healthy dose of that, and good friends, lots of good
Yes.
friends.
Yes.
Yeah,
And lots of good soul filling time out in the field.
100%. I
Yeah.
can't stress that enough.
Yeah.
It's get out of it what we put into it, and
Yeah.
yeah, we just got to listen
So
to
true.
ourselves, right? We
That's
need
right.
we need those spaces and those times. So yeah, it's
Absolutely.
exciting, and I'm just so grateful to be with Focus, and it's what I wanted to do. And when I started doing tours, handling all the logistics for people and going through, for me, I like to have Zooms with them before we go and show them, everything about the process of what we're going to do getting there, and then when we're there, and so people are just calm and can really enjoy all the
Yeah.
steps. But it's a lot of coordination on your own. So
Yeah. A lot
being
of
able
work.
to work with Focus, I can just take my focus and put it on the people and the experience I'm giving them and the things I'm helping them with, and they're handling those logistics. So
Yeah.
that's
That's nice.
exactly where I hope to be taking things at this stage in life. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
happened for a reason.
And you're still doing sports photography and still
Yeah,
canning. Yeah. You have a lot.
still loving
It's
it,
fun. Yeah.
and lots of talks and presentations and
Mhm.
coaching, and yeah,
Yes.
hopefully more
Yes.
of it,
And
and learning.
and learning. Always learning. And
Always.
where can people find you if they want to find your work, find your tours, buy prints? Where can they find
Oh, broughttolife.ca is my website, or JackieMatechuk.com, I think works as well, should. And then also Focus Photo Tours, the majority. I'm just transitioning the last of my tours over onto that side of things.
Yeah.
I'm working with them, so really
Yeah, and they have
excited.
Facebook, website, Instagram. They can find you through there
Sure
too.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, Instagram, Facebook's Jacquie Matechuk as well. Pretty simple, straightforward, and by all means, if anyone's listening and they actually stuck it out to this point.
No, there's people here, of course. There's people here. Yes.
Yeah,
Everyone
shoot
say
me.
hi.
Oh, please. And shoot me a line on Insta if we're not, even if we are following already, or if I'm not, shoot me a line, let me know, and so I can, you're my kind of people, that's for
Oh,
sure.
that's so
Love
kind.
it.
That's so kind. Yes.
Oh,
I'm
thank
giving you
you.
a grade, says D. What does she get, D? She gets an A plus.
Oh,
Don't
I
grade.
don't even know. I'm scared. I'm scared. You know, I get to grade you next, D, so hey, go easy.
Well, this has been so good, Jacquie. I'm so glad to finally meet you. It's
Right
been
back at you.
been a while, and I've been following you, and I'm just glad that we could meet finally. Not face to face, but video to video face. So
Soon.
soon, I hope so.
Soon. Yeah,
I hope
got to do
so. It's
that.
been so good and so rich. I know people learned a lot, and they can connect with you again. So if you want to connect with Jacquie, follow her on Instagram and follow her career. This is going to get even bigger and bigger and better. There's so much more to come. So we're excited to watch. And next week I have Suba Joshi on. She's going to be on May 13th. And so I'm excited about that. I met her at Brooks Falls.
Oh,
So
nice.
strange. I know. And so now she's going to be on. I'm excited to have her. And if you want to follow Wildlife Conversations podcast, you can on Instagram, or you can follow me at Jen L. Ritchie on Instagram, and on YouTube, it's under Jen Ritchie Photography. And we're on Apple, YouTube, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. You know, they always say that wherever you listen to your podcast.
Yeah.
Finally got to say that.
And there are so many good episodes on there for anyone that, I mean, don't judge by just this one.
This was really good.
There are amazing episodes on Jen's feed. So if you aren't following, oh my
There's
goodness.
so many kind and talented people, and they've just been so gracious to be on and share their story. So it's been so fun. It's just been so fun to get to know people and see people's faces, you know, instead of the profile pic. So it's good. It's really good. Well, thank you so much, Jacquie. And thanks everybody for joining us. It's been really fun, like usual. Join us again next week. And then I'm actually going to take July off.
Girl.
See, I'm holding space.
There we go. What a girl.
See, you have to be proud of me.
Fantastic.
Yes. Thanks so much, Jacquie. And I hope we see each other out in the field. It'll be good.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. Thank you very much. Okay,
Peter.
bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye.